Now? Is it working? This is why we do audio and visual checks every single time. This is why. I think it's working now. Let me know. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Back with another live stream. If you're excited for this one, smash up the likes as we're coming in here. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Ben Dover in the comments because he actually he commented down below just before the live stream started. The big homie 𝗙𝗎𝗎𝗓 about to kick us some real TA. You already know it, brother. You already know it. Here we go. Yes, this is why we do video and audio checks every single time. The market has pumped up nicely today, and I want to bring a dose of realism back into crypto YouTube as we get into this live stream. So here's the thing, right? Bitcoin, you know, it peaked at around the 45K area that we were expecting. Those of you who are subscribed and regularly interacting with these videos by hitting up the likes and stuff like that will have watched that video, will have watched those live streams where I was warning you guys about the resistance there and seeing how we may end up dropping down. We ended up falling down to our key area of support that we were also expecting at $34,000 over here. But since then, I genuinely feel like Bitcoin's actually pulled out quite a lot of strength, which honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that it was able to pull off in this market. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, as you're coming in, by the way, please do just smash up the likes if you are excited for today's live stream. I do think that this trend has been unwarranted, and actually, very interestingly, the S&P 500, which Bitcoin has been correlated with very well lately, has not been performing well since it opened its trading session this week today, a few hours ago. The S&P 500 began trading way back, well, at 9:30 a.m. New York time. I don't know when that was. That was 6:30 p.m. here in Dubai, so about 5 hours ago. It gapped down, managed to recover all of it, and is now dropping back down again, kind of potentially pulling Bitcoin down at the same time where the dollar actually is you know, it kind of managed to bounce off an area of support. This is important because generally, if the dollar is rising, which obviously recently it definitely has been, if we just kind of zoom out, the dollar has been in a huge uptrend since the middle of last year, which is when Bitcoin first hit its all-time high at 65K. Generally, the dollar rising is not a good sign for Bitcoin. Generally, the S&P 500 falling is not a good sign for Bitcoin, and obviously it's in quite a nasty downtrend. One of the last things I mentioned when I gave you guys analysis on the S&P 500 right here was that this is quite a strong rebound within a downtrend, right? And when we get strong rebounds like this, especially when they happen this quickly, you know, I mean, that's a 6.5% move that happened in effectively 2 days. I mean, it is wise to expect that the downtrend might continue because these just look like kind of, you know, extreme reactions to extreme price action generally. You know, what would look healthier, if you're curious, is if, you know, we kind of came back down to test support and then bounced up. That would completely dispel all of my worries. But right now, that hasn't happened. And even if it does happen, the S&P 500 is going to have to drop a fair bit lower. All right. And we've got about 2 hours left on this S&P 500 trading session, so it's not going to be too long. Maybe even the live stream goes on for 2 hours and we can take a look at how it closes today. But Bitcoin right now, obviously being the star of the show, obviously being the most important asset that we want to look at on this YouTube channel. And the fact of the matter is, ladies and gents, as much as you might be excited for what's going on right here in the market, by the way, guys, thank you all so much for smashing up the likes as you're coming into this live stream today. The fact of the matter is, as much as you guys, you know, might be happy with Bitcoin rising up, it right now has managed to rise up into a lot of resistance, right? And let's not bullshit ourselves, really. You know, Bitcoin is still in a downtrend, and generally when we face resistance in a downtrend, it's a bad thing, right? One of the best examples of this that again we were quite vigilant about on this YouTube channel was this 53K area of support right here. I'm sorry, resistance right here, which, if you guys remember, way back in summer of last year, coming into autumn last year, Bitcoin actually came from a low of about $29,000 all the way up to 53, and this is exactly where it got rejected and fell down massively by about $13,000. It was a big rejection in the market, and no surprises, when the market fell down to the same level again earlier, well, just recently in December 2021, it managed to rally up going into the new year and only topped out at the very same area of resistance. No surprises there. This is what happens within downtrends. When we come down and then we move up and meet previous areas of resistance, generally, it is sensible to assume that we might find resistance there and that we might get a rejection. That's also what happened right here, and I must expect that that's what's going to happen right here, because you know what I think everyone's missing right now, and we're gonna see the fear and greed index shooting up. I'm sure, like, people are, I'm sure, going to be getting very excited. To be fair, today before this pump, we were in extreme fear, right? So people were generally quite scared of what's going on. What the fuck are these ads? Like, honestly, I don't even have search history like this. But people were generally quite scared of the market, and actually funding rates were definitely favoring the bulls as well. So these short-term signs, especially the funding rates, definitely did indicate that this move up could be coming, which is nice. And I might tell you why, probably won't. VIPs know. But broadly speaking, we are now back into this resistance area within an existing downtrend. And what's concerning me isn't just the fact that this is resistance, but if you've been watching our previous videos because you've been subscribed to the channel, you'll also be very, very well aware that this area actually holds a lot of resistance for Bitcoin. You know, I mean, if Bitcoin is able to hold this level for literally the next 2 to 3 days, going into the first few days of March, which starts tomorrow, by the way, it's the end of February already, which is insane because it means we're already 2 whole months into the new year, entering the 3rd month right now. That is ridiculous. That's so fast. Bitcoin has a lot of resistance right here from what I'm seeing on the daily time frame with the Ichimoku cloud, right? And I cannot take that lightly. I mean, that to me is a very, very big deal. It's absolutely a very significant thing in this market. You know, if we take a look at what our Fibonacci retracement is showing us, I want to show you this very, very quickly as well. You know, if we draw a Fibonacci retracement from this low up to this high and extend it outwards, we're actually right now, and there's 2 ways to draw this. I probably didn't draw this the right way, if I'm being quite honest with you. Let me actually, let me draw this the correct way. What we're doing right now is actually retracing upwards, and just now at a Fibonacci resistance line of 41,450. So again, I'm not saying that the market is doomed. Obviously, Bitcoin's pulling a lot of strength out of God knows where, if I'm quite honest. I honestly, I'm genuinely surprised by how strong Bitcoin has been performing within these past days. However, this doesn't take away from the fact that fundamentally the market's still in a really bad place. We're still in a downtrend. We're still at resistance, right? Doesn't mean we can't break resistance. Last time we broke it, but we didn't get much further above it. The fact of the matter is, this is a resistance area. Russia and Ukraine are still at war, which I think is a really big deal. Now, granted, it's gone on for a fair while. I don't know how much longer it's going to go on for, but if you believe that this war can get dragged out even more, we don't have a good reason for people to be speculating on Bitcoin right now. And before the dumb motherfuckers on this, watching this YouTube channel right now, there's not many of you, but before you guys come out of the woodworks and start talking about how people are going to be using Bitcoin to fund the war and how this is good in times of uncertainty, I must remind you all that as the war broke out, these assets were sold off. It doesn't matter that people might want to use Bitcoin in order to buy military, equipment and so on. That's not necessarily going to drive up the value of Bitcoin. And if anything, the smart people will be using coins like USDT and other more stable coin equivalents. And how they'll do that because it's traceable, I don't know. But bottom line, Bitcoin does not have a significant enough use case within this war to warrant it rising up in value, in my opinion. And one of the reasons that I'm so confident about this is purely because as soon as the war broke out, people sold Bitcoin. So people still don't see Bitcoin that way, and I think that's really, really important because the problem with bulls in this market, ladies and gents, is that they pull all sorts of random shit, totally random shit out of their ass and start saying that that's why Bitcoin can rise up. And look, I get it. They are emotionally invested. They've got too much money in the market. They've lost a lot of money. They want to defend it in any way possible, right? People do this when they're not prepared to admit that they were wrong. That's totally fine. It's human. But obviously, as viewers of this YouTube channel, I want you guys to be aware of it. People calling this a store of value, for example, or a safe haven asset. These are all incorrect terms to describe Bitcoin. Bitcoin still isn't there. And our best proof of of what I'm saying is simply seeing that Bitcoin generally falls when other speculative markets fall. And the fact that people speculate on Bitcoin alone tells you that, I mean, to this extent, tells you that, yeah, this is not, this war is not a good thing for Bitcoin right now. I mean, in future, sure, it could be, but it's not mature enough right now, believe it or not. And for that reason, I don't think that this war is a good thing for Bitcoin. And I wanted to tackle this head on because I know a lot of people have these thoughts going on in their heads. Some people are just thinking it in the background and, you know, they don't really have a strong opinion on it. But some people really break out their keyboards. They're going ham on the mechanical keyboards, telling me exactly why the war is good for Bitcoin and why Ukraine received, which is amazing, by the way, I think like millions of dollars in cryptocurrency donations, although that's not going to get you very far in a war, but whatever, you know, did receive a lot of money. So it's a use case that you can point to. But generally speaking, of course, it's not the case. And I wanted to tackle this point head on. For those of you who are capable of some more nuanced thinking, now, of course, most crypto holders can't do that because their IQs are in the single or low double digits. However, that's not the case for most of you. And I think that's why I needed to talk about this very, very loudly, you know, to make a big point out of it, because of course I think a lot of people are missing it. Again, that does put us back in a resistance area, even with the Fibonacci retracement that I'm showing you right here. Now granted, the main Fibonacci line, in my opinion, is the 382 line or even the 618, but 618 line actually isn't significant here. So the 382 line over here at about 46.7. And the good news is that, you see, if Bitcoin manages to get above this area, the reason I think that there is some possibility, and there's always some possibility of anything happening, the reason I think that there's some possibility of Bitcoin managing to climb above this area right here is that there's obviously going to be a lot of liquidity in this range right here, right? There's going to be a lot of people that have their stop losses around this range. You know, a lot of people that, for example, went short over here and have their stop loss above our prior swing high at about 46,000. So if Bitcoin is able to rise above that level, a lot of positions that are short at the moment are going to get stopped out. That, I think, is critical for this market right now. I think that's absolutely very, very important. You know, when the market runs down to levels like this and then shoots up to levels like this, when the market falls here, it's stopping out people who are in long positions. Of course, a lot of people on this move up and then this very quick zip up were opening up long positions. Those long positions, a lot of them have been stopped out or liquidated with this move. And now the market is moving in their anticipated price direction. This is what happens so often in the crypto markets. There are stop runs to the downside and stop runs to the upside. And I'm not putting it beyond the realm of possibility for Bitcoin to get up here, but I do think it's overwhelmingly unlikely just at the moment. And the thing is I think that if Bitcoin did actually manage to get up to 46K, I think it would actually probably bring a fair bit of momentum with it, and probably actually take us a good way towards ending this little bear market that we're in right now. Unfortunately, though, like I said, I just can't see that happening right now. I don't even see a reason for Bitcoin rising at the moment, and I think it's very important to highlight that the last time I've expressed similar sentiment on this YouTube channel was actually during this rally right here. Those of you who've been subscribed for a very long time, I mean, this is going back to October last year, so this is turning into 4 or 5 months ago, will remember that I was actually very skeptical of this run up, and even when we were actively setting all-time highs, I was torn apart. I didn't actually exercise extremely good judgment, in my opinion, because at the end of it, at the very end, I did actually turn bullish, which was obviously pretty stupid in hindsight. But the whole run up, and even while Bitcoin was consolidating in this, you know, this kind of range right here, I was very skeptical, telling you guys that Bitcoin seems to have risen up way too quickly without any real pullback, and this could get very, very ugly. Of course, that ended up happening, but it happened a lot later than I thought it would. You know, for example, when I was making my strongest warnings was probably going to be around here, but it actually took Bitcoin a whole 37 days more in order to actually fulfill my prophecy, and unfortunately fulfilled it with a lot of vigor, which obviously I didn't want. And by the way, I was telling this to you guys before, but it's worth bringing it up again. When we get such strong rallies to the upside like this, we will get such strong sell-offs like this. It's just how the market claws back reality. It sucks. It's very, very uncomfortable. And that's why I'm always calling for sustainable rallies. That's why when the market moves up, I'm saying, let's come back down and test support before moving back up. That's why I say these things. It's because I want a healthy uptrend that doesn't result in shit like this. I want a healthy uptrend that doesn't result in shit like this. I think it's very, very important. Of course, it's not in my control, but I'm just bringing it up and highlighting it to you guys because right now I'm seeing a similar situation. Now, I certainly don't think it's going to take 37 days for Bitcoin on this occasion because we're in a much more aggressive bear market, but volume is certainly there. Volume was there on some of these other pumps. That's why I mentioned Bitcoin has been showing a pretty good amount of strength, in my opinion. Even the hourly candles, even though they're certainly starting to lose momentum. Take a look at this. Our first two candles right here when the pump started, huge volume spikes, huge. Not only volume spikes, but just generally, these were large candles. If we measure the size, take a look at this. This first 1 hour candle pumps up by 4.8% in one candle from open to close, 4.8%. The next candle goes up by 2.4%. So you can see it's getting a lot smaller, although that doesn't sound correct. Let me measure this again. 4.8 and then 2.5. Yes, that is more or less correct. And then the next candles, take a look at this. These get significantly more weaker. We're still rising up, but clearly we've lost momentum. Up by 0.4% and up by 1%. A big, big difference to the first two candles that we had within this major pump. And if we take a look at the RSI, we're going to see very clearly how that momentum has started to ease off in this market right now. While initially the market was moving up, the RSI was moving up quite swiftly, which indicates an increase in strength, right? Let's keep in mind the RSI is a very commonly completely misunderstood indicator. The RSI means relative strength index, and that means if the RSI is moving up, that we're probably gaining strength in the market. And if the RSI is stabilizing, that means we're not gaining strength, but we're also not getting weaker. And if the RSI starts actually dipping down, which is what's happened over these last two candles, well then it actually indicates that strength is leaving the market. So that I think is absolutely critical to keep in mind. We are starting to see signs of this thing slowing down. If we zoom out even more onto, zoom in even more onto perhaps the 30-minute time frame, you can see this even more clearly where we gained strength quite nicely on the RSI, but we're losing a lot of that strength. And the more you zoom in, the more obvious this is, right? This is the 15-minute time frame. This is the 5-minute time frame where we actually went from overbought territory down into nearly pretty much neutral territory now on the RSI with readings of about 59. So I know you can't read that, but I mean, pretty low, that the RSI has fallen. And you can see this really clearly again. I mean, just looking at the price action here, the market moving up really quickly initially and now a lot slower. Again, as we enter a resistance area, I must remind you guys about that within this market right now, because we're all about the realistic TA in this market, right? Putting our feelings to the side and just looking at the facts. Bitcoin just on the edge of breaking out from a 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. I was warning you guys about this cloud, and we've actually managed to pretty much break it pretty quickly. So I can't lie, that is, again, somewhat surprising to me. Like I said, I have been taken aback just a little bit by how strong this uptrend has been. I was looking at this resistance area being a little bit stronger for Bitcoin, but the fact of the matter is Bitcoin has managed to pretty much break this resistance area on the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, which is absolutely great. Back on the daily time frame, let's take a quick look at EMA ribbons, and we are literally right inside of this EMA ribbon right now. Now, previously we did manage to break above it, but generally within a downtrend, Bitcoin is going to have a pretty hard time breaking this EMA ribbon, even when it forms really nice rallies like what it did right here. It's generally going to have a pretty hard time breaking this EMA ribbon, and we're in it right now. It allows us to move up by another couple $100, but really there's not much space left for Bitcoin according to this resistance indicator. This doesn't, again, I just want to be clear with you guys, because obviously my job here is to explore both sides and then draw a conclusion, and of course as a YouTuber is to just give you all the facts and tell you what I'm thinking so that you can make your own conclusions as safely and sensibly as possible. Obviously that's what we're aiming to do with our money, is move it safely and sensibly. At the end of the day, Bitcoin has been able to break this resistance area before, and we actually flipped it into support. Now, like I said, I feel like a big reason for why Bitcoin was able to bring up such a strong rally within this market when it initially stopped this downtrend was because, it had such a vicious downtrend. But like I said, because we've now formed what was effectively a 40% pump to the upside, guys, let me just remind you, this move from the low to the high, that is a 38-39% move. Huge percentage increase. I do feel like that's going to reset the market, right? So I just can't expect such strong rallies again, purely because we're not coming out of such a place of weakness. Previously the market was massively oversold, but we fixed that with this rally right here. That's a 40% move. It's a big deal. If you put in 10k at the very bottom, you would have been able to cash out 14 at the very top. Of course, nobody is able to do that. That's quite a difficult two trades to execute. But generally, what the point is here is that this was a lot in terms of moving the market up, and I certainly think it's gone some ways in terms of resetting the market. And so I must expect that. Even though we're putting up a good fight right now, I do think it's going to be difficult for Bitcoin, and especially if we start seeing things like I said, the fear and greed index starting to shoot up, and that's going to happen in about 4.5 hours. I mean, I don't know if it's going to shoot up, but it's going to update in about 4.5 hours. So we'll have some idea of it over some time, not very long left. But again, just to zoom in, like I said, we are still displaying strength even on the short term, even though we're losing momentum, in my opinion, right here, just looking at this chart. Just because it's moved up by so much, there's a lot that can go well for Bitcoin right now. I mean, one of the easiest things to talk about right now is, for example, a Fibonacci retracement right here. We can actually see that, you see, if Bitcoin manages to move down, it's got quite a few areas that it can use as support, not least just the previous consolidation that it had, right? If I show you this range right here, I can actually show this to you quite clearly on the VPVR. This is an indicator that I have not used for a while, but it is actually pretty useful in my opinion. I mean, if you take a look at this range, there's a big spike kind of from 37,000 all the way up to 39,000, 37.5 up to 39.5. Big spike right here. And for those of you who don't know what the VPVR is, it's probably because you're not already subscribed to the channel. So go ahead and type this into the YouTube search bar right now and watch my full tutorial on how to get this indicator and how to use it. If you want my paid content, by the way, 𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗙𝗧 Academy course, VIP, and so on, this is a taster of what you get inside of the 𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗙𝗧 Academy course. So it's free. Go check it out. But in short, this indicator is a display of where volume has been exchanged with Bitcoin. So where we see big spikes generally means that a lot more trading action happens with Bitcoin around these prices. And that tells us that, if we're going to fall into one of these ranges, we can probably expect a nice bit of support. And that, I think, is very much the case. I was actually saying that last time Bitcoin was in this range. Take a look at this. When Bitcoin was, kind of trading around here or even higher, I was mentioning to you guys that, yes, it does have support in this green box. We didn't really use it as support beyond this area right here, which was good. But we could very well end up using this range as support as well, which, to be honest, we didn't do very well, but we did manage to bounce off the top of the range, which, still broadly speaking means that we respected the support, but not very well. That said, this could still be support if Bitcoin moves down. And of course, as I was showing you, there are going to be some interesting Fibonacci lines as well, which I think need to be paid attention to. At the moment, we've got one area right here at 39.8. The key area on this Fibonacci, in my opinion, being 38.75. This is the 618 retracement, and I think that if Bitcoin did manage to fall down here, it would be smart to potentially expect another rally up to this green box where we potentially could find even more resistance or potentially break it, because as you just have heard me talking about a few minutes ago, the more we get pullbacks, the more optimistic I am that we'll actually be able to rise up higher, right? That's generally how these markets move, and that's exactly what happened here, right? We formed a pretty nice rally here from low to high. Looks like a 12% move. My bad, a 17.5% move, so quite a lot more than that. And then Bitcoin actually managed to retrace down quite a bit, down to $37,000. Again, from high to low, that is a fairly significant 8% rejection from this green box, as we were expecting. But then Bitcoin was able to capture some support and muster an even stronger rally to the upside, right? That's what happens when we form rejections is the market actually puts itself in a very, very bullish place. And this was actually quite a nice rejection because it painted what I would call I mean, it's a little bit hard to draw right here, but some form of a falling wedge right here where we're moving up and then we kind of enter a little staircase step pattern and then we take another leg up, which you guys hear me talking about a lot on this YouTube channel. This is how markets generally love to move, right? Is that they're going to move in the anticipated trend direction, and then they're going to fight that trend a little bit, and then they're going to pick that trend up, and then next time they fight the trend, it might only be a sideways kind of battle. It doesn't necessarily mean that the market has to trend lower, but it could only be sideways and then it continues rising up. These things are not definites, but in my opinion, they're probable. I think they certainly make sense. So it could be that Bitcoin's going to do something like that again right now. But again, the problem I'm seeing for Bitcoin is if it does hang around in this range, it's got a lot of resistance. And like I was saying to you guys towards the beginning of this live stream, by the way, shout out to those of you who have hit up the likes. I do appreciate that very much. Let's get this thing up to 1,000 likes if you guys are enjoying this live stream so far. One of the things that I was mentioning towards the beginning of the live stream, obviously, is that I just don't see why Bitcoin is moving up like this at the moment from a technical perspective. And if it kind of seems like an illogical rally, which is what I was talking about when Bitcoin was over here, way back towards the end of last year, well, then eventually, I mean, these things can turn very, very ugly. And like I said, the fact that war is still going on in Europe right now, I think is a big deal. I don't think it's a good thing, and I don't think that Bitcoin is being helped by the war. Generally, when catastrophes like this happen, people in this space want to be very quick to saying, oh, but this is good for Bitcoin. It's generally not. It would be good for Bitcoin if Bitcoin was seen as something that people retreat into to find safety. But unfortunately, Mr. Too Heavily Invested, unfortunately, Bitcoin has just seen a more than 50% decline from its all-time high. And by the way, that more than 50% decline happened within less than 3 months. So people definitely will not be seeing Bitcoin as a safe place to retreat into. And again, at a time of uncertainty globally, I just can't expect that can put Bitcoin in a good place. Let's take a quick peek at the S&P 500 as well, just while we're here. Yes, it has managed to swing below that low I was talking about. Again, Bitcoin not really doing much in response to that. It has actually outshunned the S&P 500 by quite a bit just today. That has not been the case over any of our recent trading days from what I've seen, but today seems to be the first day where Bitcoin is displaying some extra strength. I don't want to read too much into that because it's all very temporary. I mean, there can be lots of fluctuations on the analysis that you do on a day-to-day basis, but obviously the prevailing trend has been that while the S&P 500 encountered a little bit of weakness, Bitcoin encountered a lot of weakness, and generally at the very same time. So the fact that we're not seeing it happen today, to me, doesn't really mean much. There have been many exceptions to this throughout Bitcoin's history over the past year or so, and much longer, but the exceptions do not disprove the rule. So I think that's very, very important to keep in mind. I'm going to go through a couple of my notes right now as well to make sure that I haven't missed anything, but this is the time for me to open this live stream up to your questions. So if you do have any questions for this live stream, then please do me a favor and drop them in the comments right now. And again, as you are dropping your questions, type in my name at @SammyLoyal. It should you have to write the @ symbol like with an email. And then just click my name. It should autofill for you, and then write your question. If you don't do that, I will miss it. And I've just put an example in the live chat right now. So if you do want to drop your comment and you want to guarantee that I'll read it, please put it in there like that. Again, here's an interesting comment I've just read. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to read that. That's actually quite a rude comment. But basically, the person was saying there's no demand for Bitcoin here in Ukraine. I think that's generally the case. Honestly, ladies and gents, let's be totally honest. I mean, if God forbid your city, your country was being bombed to shit and invaded by a different country, I don't think you would be thinking about shit, let me buy Bitcoin. You'd probably be thinking about, let me get some clothes together, let me secure my most valuable possessions, my photo of my late grandma or something, let me make sure my children are safe, my dog is safe, and that I have food for the dog. and then leave. You know, you're not going to be thinking about Bitcoin. Obviously, I get it. Like, philosophically, Bitcoin is actually really useful at a time like this, right? Like, even for Russia, where, you know, they're being banned from the SWIFT system right now in the banking systems. Obviously, Bitcoin is immune to that. That's one of the biggest benefits of Bitcoin, is that nobody can ban you. It's it's unconfiscatable. That's one of the beauties of Bitcoin. So I totally get it. Like, it's shining right now in terms of those use cases, but that doesn't mean the value is going to be rising up. Historically, it hasn't. It just hasn't. You know, I mean, we've seen Bitcoin continuing to fall while you would expect other countries really starting to need it, you know, and I think that's quite important. I think that is a very, very big deal, which people are mulling over, which people are just totally failing to consider, and that is why I think it's a really, really big deal. So as you guys are dropping your questions in a live chat, let me just double check I haven't missed anything. I suppose one of the key charts that I wanted to show you within this live stream right here was going to be this right here, where you know, Bitcoin has you know, when it's crashed down kind of down to these kind of areas, Bitcoin has interacted with the bottom, this 29-30k area, quite a bit. Over here we had 3 interactions. This was at the beginning of 2021, and then mid 2021 another 3 or 4 key rejections with the bottom. We haven't had any yet, and it doesn't mean that we will, but you know, I mean, if we are going to get a third rejection, which seems to be the pattern, then yeah, we could be looking at another drop at least down to 34k, if not down to 30. Not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just putting it out there. Bitcoin does seem to enjoy interacting with the lower areas of this support, and we haven't actually done that yet. So maybe that's a good thing, or maybe it means that Bitcoin hasn't actually completed its downtrend yet. I believe, unfortunately, that it might be the latter. I don't like saying this stuff. It's not me trying to be the doom and gloom guy. It's just me trying to remove my bias and ignore the fact that I'm personally invested in this and stay rational and reasonable within this market at the moment. Let's see what questions we have here in the live chat. Thank you all for dropping them down below. And again, by the way, as we go on, if you are enjoying this live stream, do me a favor and just smash up the likes. We're still having discoverability issues on these live streams. We've been having them for a really, really long time. People just straight up not getting notified, even if they've ticked the bell and stuff like that. It is quite frustrating, but every time you guys interact with the live stream, YouTube pushes them out even more. So please do that if you are enjoying this so far. Let's see what we have. 4-hour inverse head and shoulders already broke out. What do you think? So let's take a look at this 4-hour inverse head and shoulders pattern. This looks like the kind of head and shoulders pattern that that a 5-year-old would draw. I honestly don't think that this is important, but let me I mean, not to say you're a 5-year-old. I mean, like, if a 5-year-old was in a classroom and you asked them to draw a head and shoulders pattern, this is what they'd come up with, because it's not a very good one in my opinion. But at the end of the day, it has broken out. Now generally these patterns are not relevant until we backtest the neckline, and we haven't done that. I'm just putting it out there. I mean, it doesn't mean that we will, but yeah, we did already get quite a nice breakout from here, but I don't really like the idea of calling this a head and shoulders pattern. It's not really the cleanest head and shoulders pattern I've ever seen, and bottom line, they're just not very reliable in my opinion. So I'm not a big fan of them, unfortunately. If we do actually use this head and shoulders pattern, though, it's worth just exploring this for fun, really, how high we can go. And the way we measure this is just measuring the height of the head, which is plus 14% or $4,800. And if Bitcoin does manage to rise up by plus 14%, that would put it at 45k. So pretty much right in line with the highs it saw before, giving it a very, very nice triple top. Or if it manages to rise up by $4,800, that would put Bitcoin at 44k. So it would be a new lower high within this trend. We'd be setting another lower high if you take a look at the position of these circles. These highs would be getting lower. Just looking at a target for this inverse head and shoulders pattern. But like I said, I don't even think this is relevant, so I'm not going to pay much mind to that, unfortunately. No demand, no uptrend, value, buyers, and ruble panic transfers fulfill none of the traits of bullish volume. While that was a very complicated comment, I do agree with you. My October price prediction, how would I give you an October price prediction in February? That's 10 months away. No, that's 8 months away. I don't know how I can do that. This is 7 months away as of tomorrow. Do I know of Daniel from Chart Champions? Do I know of him? Yes, but I've never actually spoken to him. Seems like a very cool analyst with a big mouth. So kind of like me. How many likes do we need to get you to wear those panties and the fur coat? You know what, mate? If I wasn't in Dubai, I would give you an answer. But unfortunately, I think that would not be allowed. That's very, very funny. Although the fur coat, that would go with anything. I think I'd rock it. I went long at 36k. Should I close my trade? That's up to you. Do you like the profit? Do you want to keep the profit? It's up to you. The first round of peace talks were fruitless. So this person mentioning that Ukraine and Russia already tried peace talks and it didn't work out. Again, I mean, this is... I'm not a political expert, let's be honest, neither are you. But if you have a strong opinion on this and you believe that the war is going to drag out because, you know, it hasn't ended already, then of course I can't see that being a good thing for Bitcoin. I mean, it's just more uncertainty at a time where markets are already very fragile. I mean, a little bit of, you know, flash pumping going up by about 8% isn't going to all of a sudden fix the massive problem that this market is faced with from a psychological perspective, in my opinion, where you know, people are just generally going to be quite frightened of trading in this market because of how much it's dropped. Is Russia buying Bitcoin? I'm sure that many characters in Russia would be buying Bitcoin right now, especially because of the SWIFT drama that's been happening. Didn't realize I was watching this live. Yeah, mate, this is a live stream. You see it in the title. Any video with the title live at least begins live. I mean, it can still be a replay, but on this occasion, right now, it is live. Although you wouldn't know that's the case unless YouTube tells you, because it'll say live pretty clearly. Would I short right now? I won't be talking about positions because I've already shared a lot of details about that inside of 𝗪𝗪's VIP. And as you know, that information is actually exclusive to them. So, you know, after the fact, I'm happy to talk about it, but right now, I won't. So if you do want to jump inside of VIP and see exactly how I've been planning to trade this range, I've shared some very, very, how do I say, intimate is not the right word. I've shared some very precise details on what I plan on doing. That's already inside of VIP. So you can check it out by following these steps on screen right now, clicking on the first link in the description down below. Then that's going to take you to our free 𝗪𝗪's Gold channel on Telegram, where you get even more analysis from myself and my team around the clock. You can click on the @𝗪𝗪's button in that Telegram channel, which will take you to this page where you can click on send message to ask me how to join. These 3 quick clicks within the red boxes will take you to a live chat with me, where you can ask me anything you like and get all the information about VIP just by saying hi and asking for it. Isn't it a good thing if the price drops during such times? Bitcoin actually shines like a war or bank runs. More people for those who need it. That is a very difficult comment to read. I'm sorry, I can't understand that. Do I expect a pullback from the current level of 41.1 since it is kind of resisting all the bad news today? To be honest, resisting bad news is actually a really good sign. And that's why, like I said, you know, kind of short term, even though it does look like some momentum has been lost, Bitcoin does look strong. It even looks like, I mean, it could at the very least consolidate, if not potentially even take another leg up. It certainly does look good in this super short term analysis. But again, as soon as we zoom out, I mean, this is the thing, is that the short term trend is only useful until it's not. And it's not going to be useful when it comes up to longer term resistance in this case. So doesn't mean it's going to be the case right now, but I mean, generally these are things that you should be quite mindful of. Let's see what else we have here. Do I use order flow at all? Barely, but I wish I did use it more. How far above the Bollinger Bands can price go? Very far, because in my opinion it's a totally useless indicator. I really, really don't like the Bollinger Band indicator. I mean, you may as well draw it with your hands, in my opinion. Like it's as useless as even like people who don't know how to use RSI. Like, I mean, that is a bad indicator if you don't know how to use it. You know, these are indicators that look very easy on the surface, so that, you know, people actually don't even know how to use them, and they keep trying out of almost desperation. My opinion, stick to the basics, the basic indicators, the basic forms of analysis, like, you know, horizontal price action, chart patterns, and so on. I think are far more superior. With all the financial cutoff to Russia, that has to factor into your analysis. No, kind of unprecedented stuff happening. It is, but I don't know how that can affect my analysis. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, Russian entities were buying up some Bitcoin right now. But, I mean, today was not the first day of sanctions. I would have imagined that the Bitcoin purchases would have already happened. You know what I mean? Like, to say it's happening on a Monday, I don't know. I'm skeptical of that. That sounds like reaching to me. I mean, the fact is, markets like this, especially Bitcoin, it can just pump for no reason, right? I mean, it's not even like super liquid. I think a big reason for why it's moving up could just be because there were so many short positions and they're getting liquidated right now. They're getting stopped out. So it doesn't necessarily have to be because, you know, Russia's buying Bitcoin because they're, you know, they're being cut off the banking systems and so on. I mean, I'm sure that's playing some part in this, but it's a hell of a reach. I mean, you know, the sanctions started days ago. And it's not like nobody saw this coming either. I mean, you know, Russia's already been pretty big in Bitcoin for a long time. I mean, how much of this was already priced in? These are questions which I don't hear people asking. If Russia decides to retreat and talks results in short-term peace, don't you see a massive short-term uptrend? Ashunk, I don't necessarily see a massive uptrend, but I certainly see a decrease in selling pressure. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the market is going to move up. I think that's really important, right? I mean, if selling pressure goes down, but demand stays low, and obviously, broadly speaking, long-term trend, demand's been pretty bad, that's not necessarily a good thing. And, I mean, it's better than supply being high. It's better than selling pressure being high, but it doesn't automatically mean that we're going to be in a big uptrend. I'm still... I mean, this is good, to be fair. We did form a double bottom, so this could be good enough to end the downtrend, and it's always very hard to say. I mean, let's be honest. Guys, just so you're aware, I've said this before, but I got it wrong over here. I thought the market was going to drop way lower when this happened, and to be honest, mate, I mean, if the same thing happened again right now, if I just replay the chart, I'm not even upset that I got this wrong. Like, I was exercising very good decision making, in my opinion. I would draw the same conclusion 10 times. This was a horrific bit of price action. It looked overwhelmingly likely that Bitcoin was going to drop down. And very same for this peak right here. I got them both wrong publicly. I'm super open about this. I tell you guys when I fuck up and when I'm right. This is the difference on this YouTube channel. Is obviously I do love to brag. Don't get me wrong. I'm a young guy who's pretty decent at TA, but when I make mistakes, I'll tell you about them. And this is the bottom line. It's like, actually, this is a pretty nice reversal pattern, forming a, kind of double bottom of sorts. So it certainly could be possible that this is the end of the downtrend and we're going to be moving up. And most likely, I'm not going to know it because I tend to get these major market reversals wrong. Just a fact, I do. Most people do. It's really hard to get them right. But you know what? You know why I don't care? Is because I got every single move down correct pretty much, as far as I can remember. Every single move down correct since somewhere around over here that I've been calling, right? So to get the final move wrong, I don't mind. I'm cool with that. Honestly, I got no problem with it because it means that I'm right. What is this, like 80% of the time? And then once I screw up, that's totally fine. I'm cool with that. That's a good success rate. And that's going to happen in these markets. A lot of people ask me, interestingly, Sammy, what is your exit plan? And unfortunately, I have a very underwhelming answer for you because, here's the thing is if Bitcoin does start actively setting brand new all-time highs in this market, generally it's going to be doubling those all-time highs, right? So 65, 69K going up to perhaps 130, 140K. Very possible. I think it's super likely that Bitcoin reaches those levels. And if it forms a retracement from, say, 150 or 130, falls down to 80, I mean, generally, if we're going to pass the all-time high again, which at this point would be at 130, we'll double it. So we're talking about 260 and then 520 and then and now you're getting the lotion out and then $1 million. My point is that the market can actually be very, very volatile to the upside. within the final days, weeks, and months of its market cycle. And I don't think Bitcoin has finished this market cycle yet. I've been saying this for a long time. I think Bitcoin is extremely bullish in the long term. I don't think this bull cycle is over yet. In fact, I'm almost very certain that it's not over. And so, if we're in a situation like that, then actually, it makes sense to be riding the waves up. Even if, let's say hypothetically, let's say that the all-time high that Bitcoin is going to set within this bull cycle is $500,000. If you hold one Bitcoin, you're going to have $500,000 at the peak, which is absolutely amazing. But if Bitcoin drops down, of course, you're going to lose money with it. If the real all-time high that Bitcoin sets is $500,000, and then it falls down to say $300,000, you're going to lose 200K. That's a lot of money. You're going to lose like 40%. Big deal. Yeah, 40%. But to me, that's better than selling when Bitcoin reaches 150. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather than only have $150,000. I would rather go all the way up to $500,000 and come down to 300, or even down to 200, or even down to 155. Just anything higher than, anything higher than the first situation. And the reason I'm saying this is that, like, at the end of these bull cycles, they get very vicious, and I don't want to be playing the game of trying to predict when the market is going to top, because I'm probably going to get it wrong. I get it wrong all the time in these major market tops. Everybody gets it wrong all the time. Like, it's not just me, it's everybody. Like, the only people that get it right are the really weird people that, they're using a weird mix of astrology and they're basement dwellers, and they have like a really like tuned in brain. They're definitely far up on the autistic spectrum. They're doing weird math calculations. They have really weird fringe indicators. They're the guys that get it right, and even they don't have a good enough success rate in the long term in predicting those tops. I know this because I've spoken to them, and I love those people to bits. They're the most interesting people I think I've ever met, but they're just not the kind of people that you would want to talk to and rely on in these market situations generally. They'll get the one fringe thing correct, but broadly speaking, you're better off just exercising good judgment every single day, in my opinion, and eventually you'll get it wrong. But my point is, I would rather take my 10K up to 100K and then close at 50 than take my 10K up to 20K and close there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm totally fine with completely losing 50% of my money from a massive all-time high than just missing out on the whole move altogether. So that's an interesting point, which a lot of people ask me about, so I figured I'd bring it up again. If you're enjoying this live stream so far, ladies and gents, do me a favor and smash up the likes. I can see that some of you have already reached out to join 4Slides VIP. Obviously, I'm live on this video right now, so I can't respond, but one of my assistants will. So if you do want the information on how to join VIP while I'm live with you in this live stream, then follow the steps on screen right here. I've actually just had another call with one of our yearly VIP members. For those of you who know this, don't know this already, every single member inside of our VIP program that has our yearly offer can actually have free phone calls with me, and they can pretty much go as long as you want, and we can do them as often as you want. Nobody has ever abused this this offer, so we do it pretty much uncapped whenever you like, and they are very, very useful. If you've got a certain issue you've been dealing with for a long time, or if you're completely new to the markets, or whatever the case may be, I've been able to help a lot of people from all over that spectrum, and it's very interesting to be able to talk to you guys as well. So if you guys are interested, then again, you can just follow these steps on screen and ask me about the yearly package, and we'll give you the information on that. It is a huge offer. You also get free access into our $2,700 course, where I teach you absolutely every single little bit of what I know in trading and analysis from A to Z in my advanced academy, which is perfect for people who haven't even started trading yet. But for those of you who are already kind of relatively seasoned in the market, it's still going to have a lot of very, very valuable content for you. It's extremely thorough. It's over 10 hours long. It is the real deal. So definitely check it out if you are interested. Let's be honest, the peace talks were demands and denials. Yeah, obviously, you're not expecting the first round of peace talks to go well, but I don't want to talk on that in such definite terms, because again, I'm not a political expert. Again, just want to remind you guys, if you have actual questions for me, then please just make sure that you write my name with the @ symbol, like with an email. Otherwise, I will miss it. Anonymous just told all Russians to withdraw their money before March 3rd. Could it be Russians buying? Again, I mean, it certainly could be, but it just doesn't line up very well to me because the reasons for Russians to be buying Bitcoin, in my opinion, started a few days ago, but the pump only started today. So a little bit of a late response. And to me, that just makes it more likely that this is a short squeeze. I mean, funding rates were very low today. So, or I should say very high. Definitely favoring the bulls. No, very low. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a far more likely explanation than anything you can say about Russia and sanctions and so on. Yeah, first rounds of peace talks are symbolic, not intended to be an endpoint. Don't be naive. I completely agree. Yeah. It's merely where you show your cards and your posture for dominance. Nothing is meant to be completed in the first round of any talks, let alone something with a history like this. Yeah, dude, I get you there. Yeah, and again, like, if that leads you to believe that the war might go on for longer, I mean, again, that's even more reason to expect that resistance could kick in and become a problem for Bitcoin. Can I share my opinion on Bitcoin on the weekly or monthly time frame? I can, yes, but I'm not actually very good at this analysis, in my opinion. Just on the longer term analysis, I'll still give it a shot. But if you want, oh, this is a big bear flag. Wow. If you want my, if you want really good thoughts on this, then 𝗪𝗢𝗪𝗧𝗔 is the analyst to go to. He is one of the coolest people I've ever met on the planet, and he is so humble as well. Go check him out. He is definitely like one of the best analysts I know that are alive today. And he likes to give longer term analysis a lot more than I do because he's better at it. So go ahead and check him out. I think it's just down to him having more experience in the markets, really, innit? I mean, I've had 5 years now nearly, so it's a good chunk of time to be in this market, but I'm still a young guy. I'm still impatient in a lot of ways. He's obviously better than that. But yeah, I mean, to me, what this looks like, to be quite honest, is, yeah, we had a hell of a downtrend. We had a brief pause in that downtrend and moved down again. We're now having quite a large, but still potentially fairly brief pause before potentially moving down. And this year, I mean, this could get really, really ugly. It looks like a bear flag right now. It doesn't mean it is, but end of the day, and I actually covered this with you guys in the last video. You know, what I was mentioning is that, I mean, just broadly speaking, especially if Bitcoin peaks kind of here or just anywhere below 45, we're going to have quite a clear trend of setting higher lows, and we already have a trend of setting lower highs, but it would become even more obvious, you know, if Bitcoin managed to top out like around over here and then trade down. It would be a very, very clear situation of setting lower highs and higher lows, which would effectively paint a triangle, right? Effectively would paint some sort of triangle like this, which obviously in a you know, quite large downtrend is a problem. It's a very, very bad thing. So that's what I'm seeing here on the weekly time frame. Very, very clear actually on the weekly time frame. That is certainly cause for concern in my opinion. Let's see where the momentum is as well. Yeah, there's a lot of momentum resistance right now. You know, the last time that Bitcoin fell down massively from 65k, it still had support on the weekly EMA ribbon, right? I mean, it lost it a couple times with these wicks, but you know, with the candle opens and closes, with this one small exception right here, Bitcoin was able to sustain support on the weekly EMA ribbon. The next time it sustained support here, it actually bounced up really nicely from 40k all the way up to 69, which was nearly a $30,000 move. You know, so this is evidence that this EMA ribbon is quite important. And then recently, I think, you know, this is one of the key reasons we even saw a rejection. So we're kind of just starting to battle this same area of resistance again. It is closing up. You know, we're losing the spread, so it's not super reliable anymore, in my opinion. But it's not a good sign, that's for sure. We're below resistance. We've already been rejected from it, and we're about to hit it again. So you tell me. You tell me, ladies and gents. You tell me. Monthly time frame. Let's take a look at that. So I almost never look at the monthly time frame. It's literally only when you guys request it. But this is horrible. This looks like a horrible M-shaped pattern. Last time we had an M-shaped pattern that looked a little bit like this was kind of over here, kind of, not really. Let's see this on the weekly time frame. Maybe it's a little bit more obvious. Not really, but yeah, I mean, it kind of is an M-shaped pattern. It is a disaster for the market when it drops below this level. It drops from $400 all the way down to 170, or at least halves. So pretty big problem there in the market. Again, for the monthly time frame right now, I suppose what we can do is analyze the February candle, because this February candle is going to close very shortly, just within a matter of 4 hours. So this certainly potentially looking like the downtrend is running out of steam. You see, we get like, it's just using normal candlestick analysis. Market's moving up really, really nicely with quite healthy monthly candles right here, right? Take a look at this. The monthly candles are very healthy. This one's showing some signs of weakness, but then we recover it quite nicely. But at the very end, we get almost like a doji candle. And if you don't know what a doji candle is, this is how you spell it. It's just basically where, I mean, the candle tests the upside and it tests the downside, and it ends up closing pretty much right where it opened, which is generally a representation of indecision. I mean, this is to say you're moving forward, you're moving back, and you come right back to the center. It just shows that the market isn't very certain of what it wants to do. Very, very obvious sign that things might be getting ready to reverse. And then we see a huge downtrend. And then we see another, I mean, this isn't a doji candle, but again, you know, I mean, it's a similar point where the candle trades all the way to the downside, all the way to the upside, can't really make up its mind. It closes somewhere around where it opened. And it's just a sign that the market is, again, unsure of what it wants to do, which is important, because if the market is unsure of what it wants to do after an uptrend, that can be a sign that we're going to reverse down. But vice versa, in the opposite direction, if the market has just come out of a massive little sell-off right here, massive little, that's a bit of a juxtaposition, but if the market's just come out of a massive sell-off right here, and then it's showing that same kind of indecision, that can be a sign of a reversal, and that's what we have right now. So the last times that we got these kind of candles, probably, I want to say this one right here, maybe this one, although it's a bit of a push, definitely this, and definitely this. Let's see other reversal type candles we had. This was definitely a reversal candle. I don't want to go much further back than this. I guess we could maybe say this one was as well. But, you know, just broadly speaking, these are generally important. They generally are quite important. And this one looks like a pretty clear, at least beginning to a reversal. It at least very clearly shows us that the first few monthly candle sell-offs were pretty intense. You know, if we measure these monthly candles from high to low, from open to close, that's down by 7% in one monthly candle. The next one, obviously, quite a bit more, down by 18%. The next one down by 17%. And today, our monthly candle closing only down by 2%. So this really, really is showing us that whereas in November, December, and January, the sell-off was much more intense. You know, now it's definitely weakened quite a bit. So that is a sign that the market could be getting ready to reverse, which is, you know, one of the things we were expecting, this 30K range definitely being an important area for the market. So while I'm not super good at this long-term analysis, hopefully that has been useful for you right here. Let's see what else we have here in the comments. Thank you all for tuning into this live stream today, by the way. Really do appreciate all the love, all of you guys hitting up the likes, showing your support for the channel. I appreciate it as usual, as always. Thank you all very, very much. Let's see what else we have here. Russia has been dealt with sanctions for 15 years. Yeah, it is nothing new to them, but I mean, what else are you going to do if you're not going to go to war, right? Theo, right here, I like this comment. Theo is saying, if you can't stomach a major move back to the downside, get the fuck off this channel. There we go, mate. There we go, tapping back into the energy. That's exactly it, Theo. That's the thing, ladies and gents. If you're sitting through this kind of price action and you're feeling sick and you're feeling upset and scared and so on, you don't belong on this YouTube channel. Like, this channel is going to hurt your feelings. It's going to tell you things you don't want to hear. It's going to tell you the truth, and that's just straight up not comfortable for most people. So, you know, do yourself a favor and go watch you know, more optimistic channel that you know, likes to lie to itself, but you ain't gonna find it here. Yeah, I mean, the market is brutal, and that's why we explore it with clear eyes instead of with heavy biases. Yeah, see that this hourly candle closed very, very well, and now potentially even forming, you know, just a little kind of continuation pattern before exploding up again. Doesn't mean it will, of course. I mean, it can go so many ways right now, but the hourly candles right now, even though they are losing momentum, they're looking good. Just gonna see what else we have here in the comments. We are an hour into this live stream. I'm probably gonna end it relatively soon. Just because it seems I have kind of answered most questions, if not all, and it's also past midnight here, so I would like to get going relatively soon. Wicks on top and bottom show a rising channel on daily. Yeah, they do. They do. I was looking at that. So this person is mentioning that, you know, Bitcoin is potentially forming a channel that looks a little bit like this, potentially a very, very large continuation pattern. This is not validated until Bitcoin confirms the resistance, because we've only had one resistance hit so far. But yeah, it is something to keep an eye on right now. Hey Sammy, I'm at home visiting in Orange County, California. I know that this is your favorite place to drive your supercar. Why do you like Cali again? Oh mate, don't get me started. Don't get me started on Cali. Cali's my passion spot. Cali's where my heart belongs. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. This video is going to turn into a huge rant. See what else we have here in the comments relevant to the video. I know you guys want to talk about politics right now. It's very addictive to be talking about politics, but please remember that's not what I want to be covering in this live stream. Most likely I'm going to get a lot of things wrong, and it's also just not a productive conversation. I mean, right now we are just kind of focused on the technicals anyway. Yeah, it looks like we are completely out of relevant questions. Oh, here's one. Hey, Sammy, I know you don't like to see the shit coins, but can you please take a quick eye on Solana at the 4 hour? Because you asked so nicely, of course. Thank you. Yes, I will. Solana, $96, seeing a nice rise up. Oh, it actually fell into my first area of support. Yeah, but that was a few days ago, so I think I already spoke about that. I don't know. There's nothing to say here. I mean, it's getting a bounce off support, so, you know, that's what you would expect. Let's measure this move. It's up by 23%. It's quite a strong bounce. It's not that strong actually. I mean, the last bounce that Solana had off this support area was 48%, although it had 15 days. It's only about 4 days into this bounce, so actually it could pull off something similar. You know, perhaps Solana is trying to paint a pattern that looks something a little bit like this. You know, just a long-term kind of descending channel before eventually blowing up. That would make a lot of sense to me. That would make a lot of sense. But don't really have anything else to say about Solana right now. So like, some of you are getting way too upset by the political conversation right now. Like this is exactly like I just don't understand how people are this passionate about it. Like I get it, it's a big deal, but shit, like people are like way too crazy about it. It's really like honestly quite sad. Oh shit. Delilah, hey Sammy, keep me posted when you're back in Cali. For sure, I will do. I might be back soon. I don't know. I did have some travels planned, but they kind of been thrown off a little bit now. Is Cali still I know a lot of the restrictions have been lifted, but is it nice right now? I mean, can you do everything, or what can't you do? I'm talking about like LA County and stuff like that. You consider Ethereum to be a shitcoin? Nah, I like Ethereum. It doesn't matter about my label of shitcoin though. I mean, when I call a coin a shitcoin, it's just, you know, it's mainly theatrics. I mean, for the most part, I don't care. I don't really have a real opinion. Will Cardano catch resistance at the $1 level? I would love that. I would love it if it did, and it's already well on its way. It fell down to 75 cents. It's now up to 92. It just got a breakout out of this pattern I was watching today. It's up by 27%. I was watching this pattern today, and it just got a breakout from it because if you look at its previous candles, it wasn't really moving much. This one daily candle, by the way, has engulfed the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. This one daily candle has engulfed the past 6 days of trading. So Cardano has shown a lot of strength with this candle, definitely indicating that a move to that $1 level could be quite possible in this market right now. And that is quite cool. So it would be cool if it manages to rise up to $1, and I definitely expect it to catch resistance if it does. And the only reason I'm expecting resistance there is because it's not actually had a confirmed breakout below this $1 level since basically February of last year. It did wick below the $1 area, which is the blue line, multiple times, but it never actually closed the daily candle below until now. And so because I would consider this a confirmed breakout, if it does come back up, I would expect that to be what I call a kiss of death. LA County is full of masked zombies. Well, I mean, I don't really care about wearing a mask, to be honest. I'm not nearly as passionate about wearing a mask as most other people are. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love not wearing a mask as much as the next guy, but I mean, I'm more concerned about are the clubs closed, and can you go to restaurants, stuff like that. I mean, that's important. I couldn't really care too much about masks. I know that the restrictions for masks are being lifted here in Dubai tomorrow, so that's pretty cool. Hussein in the chat also pointed out the same thing. Someone wants me to look at the dollar index. I already did look at the dollar index, and there's nothing really that I can talk about it right now. Almost just looks like it's coiling up for potentially another move, but it's a weird. I mean, it's not really something I can analyze. It's hard to analyze the dollar index, at least on the short term. And I've already given my my long term analysis on this a lot of times. You can move around. Mask is optional. That's pretty cool for LA. Yeah, that's nice. Can you check Luna? Maybe you'd find it interesting. Let me take a look at Luna then. Luna against... Yeah, let's use this chart. Okay, so Luna's doing pretty well right now. It's basically doubled, pretty much, in the last week or so. It's got a resistance zone right here. Where it peaked in December last year, found support again in December last year, and then peaked here in January this year. So this level is definitely an important area for Luna. and I would not be surprised if we saw some sort of pullback. But if we do see a pullback, I'm then looking at Fibonacci levels, because it's actually a pretty strong uptrend, and I expect that Luna will keep this uptrend. I don't know why it's moving up. It must have had some good news or something, but $71 looks like a nice potential bounce zone. 62, okay. This Fibonacci isn't actually super reliable right now, in my opinion. But yeah, it definitely looks like it should be due for a drop right now, or maybe slightly higher at $86, but I mean very, very soon. But I wouldn't expect that bounce to be too disastrous, although I'm sure it would be quick and nasty. I don't expect it would last too long. I'm curious, can you trade Luna on Bybit? Because that actually looks like a pretty obvious trade to me. Let me check this out real quick. Come to Columbus, no masks and all kind of good food, bars and clubs. I mean, like, I'm going to Cali because I love the state. I've never actually heard much of Columbus. I'd have to check some of the laws around certain activities out there. What was I going to check? Luna. Let's check out Luna. It's late today. Okay, so Luna is available on Bybit. On leverage. Is it leverage? Is this a leverage shot? I think it is leverage. What is this? I've never seen this button before. That's pretty cool. This is spot. We're trying to go for derivatives. That's what I'm interested in. So let me see. Luna. USDT perpetual. Nice. Okay. Okay, that looks cool, because I kind of want to trade this. Look at that. It's lost all of its volume, and it's got the same sign of momentum dissipating in this market. So pretty nice. It definitely looks like it's due for a reversal. The resistance is not strong, just to be clear. The resistance is not strong, but it's there. And on a chart like this, the problem is you don't actually have much resistance that you can look at. So when you find something, I think it's worth taking it seriously. Let me just see the... is there a Fibonacci level that lines up with this? No, there's not. So that doesn't really add to it. So it's not strong resistance, but it makes a lot of sense. I'm just curious, like, if I did trade this, what would I be looking at? Because to me, it actually looks really good to trade right now for a short. Let's say entry was right now. I'd probably put my stop loss above this swing right here, which is a 4.3% move, and I would probably be targeting... My first target would be around here, which is a 7.5% move with a 1.7% risk to reward. So that's not really worth trading, in my opinion. That's quite a lot of risk for not enough reward. My main target would be... Well, it depends on why Luna is rising. If anyone can tell me, I'd appreciate that, because I don't want to go Googling this right now. But if it does fall down to $70, like I said, that jumps the risk to reward ratio all the way up to 4, with a potential gain of 17.5%. And I would probably, if my loss is 4.5% away, I would probably be trading this on like 4 or 5 times leverage max. Let's say it's 4, so 17% move on 4x leverage. What is that? 70% profit. So yeah, it's all right. Probably not that. I wouldn't want to target such a low area though, because even though I said analysis wise it can probably drop down that low for a trade, I don't like risking that much. Which is just one of the reasons I've been able to keep my capital so safe in this market. I mean, so many people have literally blown their market up to ridiculous levels, but we haven't inside of VIP, a lot of us. So if you want to see how that's been possible and jump inside, then again, you can do. Following these steps on screen, every single one of you who've reached out, by the way, during this live stream, you've already received a response by a member of my team. So if you do want to get the information, you can have it right now. If you've never heard of, if you've never been giving information on VIP, you can get all of it right now by following these 3 quick clicks on screen. to gain access to VIP right now at pretty good prices, considering where Bitcoin is against the dollar. Columbus is the headquarters for Victoria's Secret, which I figured would resonate with you after seeing those ads on your browser. That's cool, man. That's cool. Depends if the chicks are there too. I know LA's got the hottest girls, like, maybe in the world. So, but I mean, obviously they're coming from somewhere. They're not all being born in California. So maybe Ohio, Columbus is one of those places you find them. It's been pumping because Crypto Banter pumped it. I don't think Crypto Banter has that much power. Luna has good news. Is related to the decentralized stablecoin UST, which is doing wonders. 20% APY. That doesn't sound like a reason for it to double over the past week. I mean, that's a good thing, but not necessarily the best thing. Shout out to Kasim in the chat commenting best way. It's a good thing, but it's not the best thing. It's not good enough to trigger a double, in my opinion. It's rising because it's tied to USDT, which is being accepted as donations to Ukraine warship. Bang! Proving the point that I mentioned earlier in the live stream. It makes a lot more sense to be accepting stable coins in donations than it does to be accepting Bitcoin. Try dating an LA girl, see how your life unfolds from there. Hot is not always good, mate. I am fully aware of that after having dated a Russian. So I can see this now. Yeah. Kind of wish somebody told me before I fell into it, but no, that's cool. Don't hop in bed with any jabbed zombie girl. You might catch 𝗬𝗢𝗥𝗙𝗦. I don't know though. Are people in LA actually that? Because what I heard is that people in LA fake being worried about COVID. They don't actually care. They just look like they do because obviously appearances matter a lot. But yeah, mate, I think if I've been with a Russian, I can handle any chick on the planet now. It's hardened my mental capacity more than anything ever could. You think Bitcoin can make me strong? Fucking hell. Please tell, can we buy crypto for... What kind of question is that? I can't answer that for you. Can we buy Bitcoin long term, crypto long term? I mean, I don't know. I'm not the person to answer that, dude. I'm sorry. I'm not the person that can give you that. People in LA love virtue signaling. They do, but that's my point. Is do they fake being worried about COVID or do they actually care? Alright guys, I'm going to take a couple last questions and then probably head off. Seems like the TA questions have dried up a little bit. A couple people asked me when I'm going to LA. I don't know yet. I did have some plans, but it's looking very difficult now, unfortunately. But if I do go, I'll always post it on my Instagram, so just check it out. Follow my Instagram in the description. UST is not USDT, yep, and has no relation to Luna pumping. Cool. I mean, I'll have to check it out, but to verify it myself, because someone else is directly disagreeing with you. Can't just be relying on comments, as you know. Gotta verify that information. Powering up on the Russian heartbreak, invincible. Nothing's gonna make you stronger, mate. Columbus has the highest per capita fashion designers in the US outside of NYC and LA. Lots of hot college girls. Perfect, man. Perfect. I don't even know where Ohio is on the map. It's a bit embarrassing. I should know this. I know it's probably somewhere like in the Midwest, but the Midwest is massive. The Midwest is like all the way from like Chicago to Colorado, isn't it? Like it's huge. People in LA driving alone with masks in their cars. I mean, people do that here in the UAE and people do that in the UK. It's a very common thing from what I've seen. But again, this is the thing, is like, I really don't care. Like, why does everyone care so much if other people wear a mask? Like, fucking let them do their own thing, man. Like, shit. Really, like, I don't understand why people care so much about this mask stuff. Seriously, like, if you don't like a mask, don't wear one, you know what I mean? Like, why is it gotta be such a big deal? It's just like, it's a lot of energy to be putting into such a small thing, you know what I mean? Like, I got bigger things to worry about. $41.5 broken. Yeah, it's just shot up right now. I've just been watching it on my trading monitors on the side, up to 41.7. This is the very top of the daily EMA ribbon. Take a look at this. Very, very top of the daily EMA ribbon right here. Let's zoom in a little bit more into the 1 hour time frame. So yeah, it did just look like it was coiling up, getting ready for another leg up. So it's moving up on a lot less volume now than it was before. Still within this resistance range, so let's not get carried away. But yes, of course, it is moving with quite a lot of vigor right now. Columbus is within 500 miles of 50% of the US, but you know a lot about Columbus, don't you? About Ohio. No, Columbus. Columbus is the state. Yeah. Within 50% of the US population. Midwest is the heart of it all. Any thoughts on DeFi Kingdom? Never heard of it, mate. Yeah. Ohio's the city. I don't know much about it. I'll be honest. Please put on a mask while I'm streaming. Imagine that. Imagine if I was wearing a mask while I was live streaming. That would be hilarious. Yo, the hate I would get, the comments, the fury. People would get so upset. It would be insane. I cannot imagine the fury on this YouTube channel if I was wearing a mask on these live streams right now. Like that would become a meme. That would become a big deal. Oh, Ohio is the state. Shit, my bad. I didn't know that. My bad. That's embarrassing. I'm showing my ignorance now. My bad. I'm sorry. That's really embarrassing. The confidence that I said it with as well, you know. But no, it's cool. It's cool. I'm not American. I think I know more about like American geography than a good portion of Americans would, though. Because like most Americans just don't know much about geography, especially outside of America. They are useless. They are absolutely useless. It's shocking. You ever seen those videos of people? They're so bad that I wonder if they're fake. Have you ever seen those videos of Americans pointing at a map and someone asks them like, "Where is Iran?" And they point at China, and they're like, "Where is China?" And they point at South America or something really stupid. Maybe not South America, but you know, like Africa or something. I don't know if those videos are fake, but it's quite crazy. But I don't even blame you guys, because it's such a big country. It has everything, and its culture is very like fascinated with itself. The United States, you know, like other countries, they kind of rely on, like, for example, I guess the UK tries to be quite self-contained, but you know, one like Austria is a very easy example. You know, like Austria relies a lot on a country like Germany for so many things, including culture. You know, but the US kind of stands on its own, so people just don't really need to know about the rest of the world. Those videos are real. Yeah, that is pretty crazy. I mean, it's hard to, but you guys need to like put it in Google after this live stream. It's like who was it? Jimmy Fallon? I think it's just like Americans looking at a map. Like it's shocking. I'm admittedly terrible at geography. It doesn't make me money, so I don't care. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's the point. It's like, it just doesn't really even matter, does it? I've thought about this a lot. Like, sometimes I've thought I kind of, I don't wish I was American, because I think it would be quite horrible, but especially compared to being British, I'm very glad that I was born British. But like, America's a cool country. Like, there is a lot of stuff you can do in that one country. I mean, you can completely change up your life and your scenery on every single extreme. I mean, you've got Alaska and the Mojave Desert in the same country. That's insane. That is insane. you've got like so many levels of a political spectrum as well. I mean, you can be in California and New York, or you can be in Miami and Texas. I mean, you know, like that is really cool in one country. Like that is very, very cool. But then there's just always this, like, not always, but there's just generally this crazy aspect to Americans. You know, like Europeans, they do it right. Like Europeans are calm, you know what I mean? But split this live stream in half. I will have to. Yeah. Just talking complete shit right now. Europeans, you generally see they're very calm. I'm talking about the people in like Switzerland, countries like that. Dude, they're so calm. They're so level-headed. But I mean, that's why traveling is so cool. That's why being able to travel is so cool. America is so diverse. It's pretty cool. Different states have different laws and scenery, different perspectives, which is why we have electoral college. Yeah, man. I don't know about the last point. I've always been a massive hater of the electoral college system. It's so corrupt, but in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, it does definitely have its upsides, I'm sure. What is the indicator that shows how many shorts versus longs are on the books? I don't know about an indicator, but you can just type in like Binance long and short, you know, on Google, and you'll see it. It's like the first search results. We should be talking about cars. Yeah, mate. You know, I can never resist a car conversation. I was just looking at, have I been to Australia? Not yet. I wanted to take my UK Porsche, but then Australia became crazy. I was actually just looking at the 992 generation GT3 again, because for those of you who follow me closely, you'll know that I've got the 991 GT3 manual transmission, stick shift, pretty cool. But the 992 looks so much better, and but it's a ridiculous price increase. It's like close to double or something stupid, like 50% more expensive than the 991. But it's so tempting, like just because it looks better. Switzerland is taking sides on the Russia thing. That's interesting. It's very weird for a country with neutral history. I mean, what side is it taking? What side is Switzerland taking? Now you've got me curious with that one, because Switzerland never takes sides. Why would they take sides anyway? I'm curious what... Switzerland will forego Swiss neutrality and adopt some sanctions. Oh shit, okay. Neutral Swiss join EU sanctions against Russia. Wow. It will freeze Russian assets. This is big. This is big. I found it funny. What was it? Chechen banks or something like that have restricted Boris Johnson, UK Prime Minister's banks. Bank accounts and assets and stuff like that. That's pretty crazy. Considering we're about to test the middle of the, I don't know what channel that is, mate, on the daily, how much impact, I don't know what channel you're talking about, Mike. Swiss are taking the sides of banks. I mean, that's still quite surprising. It's strange because even Sweden, you know, also another country that's generally quite neutral, has also taken a stance against Russia. Not necessarily with any action, but, you know, kind of warned that they would. And then Russia threatened them with war in response. Which is an interesting turn of events, but... yeah, countries that usually stay neutral seems like they're coming out of the closet almost, and starting to show what they think, which is interesting. I get a little bit worried by it. I don't like seeing so much polarization, but oh yeah, ruble is interesting. Let's take a look at the ruble. I put out a tweet about it actually, but I deleted the tweet afterwards. Just because it didn't seem very interesting. Talking about a Gaussian channel. I have no idea what that is. Is it here? Where is it? I've I've used it before. Is it even one of these tools? I've used it before and I completely forgot what it is. I must have used it in like 2017. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know where the Gaussian channel is. I can't say. But yeah, ruble has shot up. I mean, it was you would have previously needed 83 rubles to buy $1 literally just a day or two ago, and now you need 110. That's a huge decrease in value. I mean, I know that the price jumped, but I mean, this means that you need 30% more rubles to buy the same $1. So I mean, for things within the Russian economy, things that are already in the Russian economy, it's not that big of a deal. But I mean, overall, pretty much every Russian that holds any rubles has become weaker because of this. It's a big deal. Look, I mean, I don't want to take sides. I don't want to say anything in any particular direction because I mean, obviously any war is bad, but at the end of the day, the people of both countries don't really want the beef, do they? I mean, you know, it's very much always the people at the very top that are pulling the strings, and I mean, most Russians don't even want the conflict, from what I've been hearing. You know, so it's a real shame that this is happening. And actually, very interestingly, Sweden sent a lot of tank ammo to Ukraine. Interesting. Very interestingly, if you look at the ruble chart on the monthly time frame, and you zoom out very far, you'll notice something quite peculiar, which is that its history throughout the decades is that some event will happen to massively shoot up inflation on the ruble, i.e. make it very devalued, and then it will kind of do nothing for a long time, and then it will have another disastrous event and kind of do nothing, and then another disastrous event, and then kind of do nothing, and then another disastrous event. And we obviously don't know how high this can go. I mean, it can keep going much higher, or it could you know, stop around here and kind of do nothing. But generally, that trend has been very bad for Russia. Very bad. The Gaussian channel is an indicator that is relatively used on larger time frames, used as a generalized communication channel. It lines up with the resistance level of 41.5k. Let's take a look at this. So I must say that obviously, you know, like I've already said, I don't know what this indicator is. I haven't used it anytime recently, but let's pull it up. Am I spelling it correctly? Yes, no, I'm not. Gaussian channel. I'm guessing this is the right one to use. And oh, this looks like Bollinger Bands. Let's back test this first. So I'm guessing this is kind of functioning like an EMA ribbon. Pretty reliable, actually. It's pretty reliable. Yeah, so the past few times we hit this middle line, it did act as resistance. It's been acting as resistance going back to November 2021. Even acted as resistance over here, and it acted as support. So pretty good indicator, actually. Yeah. Right now it's red. I'm guessing green indicates that it's in an uptrend. I mean, it seems like each of the lines on the Gaussian channel are pretty important. So, and the line for the Gaussian channel here is at about 41.1. Well, let's not assume. Let's actually check it out. 42.1, yeah. That's the midpoint for the Gaussian channel right now. So we're just knocking on the door of that area right now, aren't we? Yeah, I've probably maxed this out for this live stream, though. I should be going. You're the man. Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you for sticking around in this live stream since the very beginning, mate. It's been just over an hour and a half, and you're still here. So you dropped one of the first comments on the stream, and you're going to be dropping one of the last ones now. So thank you very much for all the support. Thank you to the rest of you that have tuned in as well. Thanks again to everyone that's hit up the like button, that subscribed to this YouTube channel, that showed your support in some way, that provided criticism or whatever the case is. Thank you for all of that good stuff. And I'm going to head off now because it is just midnight here in the United Arab Emirates. It's been a good stream. An interesting day of price action. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. So take it easy. You know what to do if you want some free cash. Oh, Luna, I'm going to keep an eye on, by the way. Luna looks nice. Thank you for pointing it out to me. A few people commented about Luna today. I'm going to keep an eye on Luna because it looks very tradable. It looks... Let me just take another look at Luna. See, I see a move like this, and look, don't get me wrong, I don't like standing in front of a big steaming train, but this is a resistance area. Bottom line. This is a resistance area. And when the asset has already managed to rise from its low to its high by 78%, to say that we definitely won't get a rejection of any size is foolish in my opinion. So I'm just putting it out there. I'm sure there isn't going to be any indicator that provides resistance right now. Yeah, I mean, you can't... No indicator is going to be giving resistance. It's just this horizontal analysis, but looks pretty clean to me. Anyway, guys, yeah, I'm off with that note. If you want to jump inside a VIP or just gain access to our free content, if you like this free content, then click on the first link in the description down below. If I do decide to trade Luna, I'll let VIP members know about it. I'm not convinced right now. Even though it does look good, I'm not convinced. It doesn't look good enough. I prefer to have much safer trades. Like I said, I've already informed VIPs on what that looks like for me right now. But yeah, Luna at the moment definitely has caught my attention. So thank you for that. I'll see you all.